Poštovani gledalci, dobrodošli u Granice Istoka. Ja sam Harun Karčić. U ovom izdanju emisije analiziramo reperkusije američkog priznavanja Jerusalema kao glavnog grada Izraela. Obećao je to u predizbornoj kampanji i skoro godinu dana kasnije to je i učinio. Američki predsjednik Donald Trump 6. decembra 2017. godine donio je odluku o priznavanju Jerusalema kao glavnog grada Izraela. Shodno tome, naredio je State Departmentu da razradi plan za premještanje američke ambasade iz Tel Aviva na novu lokaciju. Uslijedile su žestoke kritike širom svijeta, od zemalja članica Vijeća sigurnosti UN-a do Indonezije i Maroka. Ipak, američki predsjednik tu odluku nije donio ishitreno. Prije razgovora sa našim analitičarima, pogledajmo zbog čega se pitanje premještanja ambasade SAD-a povlači duže od 20 godina.
Godinu dana nakon potpisivanja mirovnog sporazuma 1994. godine između Palestinaca i Izraelaca u Oslu, američki kongres je usvojio veoma važan zakon, poznat kao Jerusalem Embassy Act. Taj zakon obavezuje SAD da svoju ambasadu premjesti iz Tel Aviva u Jerusalem, a za njegovo neprovođenje predviđena je i kazna, zamrzavanje državnog budžeta. Ipak jednom klauzulom spomenutog zakona američkom predsjedniku je omogućeno da odgodi premještanje ambasade na 6 mjeseci iz sigurnosnih razloga. Od 1995. godine do danas tu klauzulu su više od 20 puta koristili Trumpovi prethodnici. Tako su američki predsjednici vješto izbjegavali premještanje ambasade i priznanje Jerusalema, koji je pod izraelskom vojnom okupacijom od 1967. godine za glavni grad Izraela, što je svakako kontroverzno i osjetljivo pitanje. Trump je odstupio od te prakse 6. decembra ove godine. Uslijedili su žestoki protesti u Palestini, Libanu, Turskoj, Egiptu i Maroku. Dužnosnici Evropske unije odbili su priznati Jerusalem za izraelski glavni grad jer se zalažu za dvodržavno rješenje za Palestince i Izraelce sa Jerusalemom kao glavnim gradom obje države. Evropska unija je godinama jedan od najvećih donatora palestinske samouprave. Organizacija islamske saradnje u Istanbulu je zaključila da Trumpova odluka o priznanju Jerusalema kao glavnog grada Izraela predstavlja kršenje međunarodnog prava. Upućen je poziv na međunarodno priznanje Palestine s istočnim Jerusalemom kao glavnim gradom. Analitičari smatraju kako će priznanje Jerusalema za glavni grad Izraela usrećiti američke i jevrejske lobiste i desničarske evangeliste koji su godinama lobirali za to, a neki su to izričito i zahtijevali od Donalda Trumpa u predizbornoj kampanji. Ipak, Palestinci, kršćani i muslimani koji stoljećima žive zajedno duboko su razočarani u poteze predsjednika Trumpa jer smatraju da je tim potezom legalizirao vojnu okupaciju njihove zemlje i njihovog glavnog grada. Amina Gvozden, Al Jazeera.
Jerusalem, grad svet muslimanima, kršćanima i jevrejima, uvijek je u centru izraelsko-palestinskog sukoba. Zapadni dio većinski je naseljen jevrejima, a istočni Palestincima koji su pod izraelskom okupacijom od 1967. godine. Izrael tvrdi da mu pripada cijeli grad, te da je Jerusalem vječni i nepodijeljeni glavni grad Izraela. Međutim, Ujedinjeni narodi to nisu priznali i kažu da je grad pod okupacijom. Izrael na razne načine diskriminiše stanovnike Jerusalema. Izraelski jevreji po rođenju dobiju izraelsko državljanstvo, dok Palestinci dobiju samo boravišnu dozvolu, iako njihove porodice generacijama žive u tom gradu. Izraelske vlasti tu boravišnu dozvolu mogu oduzeti iz više razloga. Na primjer, ako Palestinac provede duže od 7 godina izvan Jerusalema ili sklopi brak sa osobom sa okupirane zapadne obale ili pojasa Gaze, gubi dozvolu. Od 1967. godine do danas, više od 14.000 Palestinaca iz Jerusalema izgubilo je boravišnu dozvolu. Tu je i problem stambenog prostora za Palestince. Izrael je odredio 35% istočnog Jerusalema za gradnju nelegalnih jevrejskih naselja, dok je samo 13% ostavljeno za nove palestinske objekte. Izrael redovno odbija izdati građevinske dozvole Palestincima, što ih prisiljava da nelegalno grade domove kako bi imali dovoljno prostora za život, a Izrael te objekte ruši. Od 1967. godine do danas, Izrael je porušio više od 48.000 palestinskih kuća na okupiranim teritorijama, od toga više od 2.000 u istočnom Jerusalemu. Istovremeno, izraelske vlasti grade nova nelegalna jevrejska naselja u istočnom Jerusalemu gdje već živi više od 200.000 jevrejskih doseljenika. Istočni Jerusalem je nelegalnim izraelskim zidom odsječen od okupirane zapadne obale i Palestinaca koji tamo žive. To je u potpunosti uništilo palestinsku ekonomiju, a 75% Palestinaca tog dijela grada živi ispod granica siromaštva. Situacija je još osjetljivija kada je riječ o kompleksu džamije Al-Aqsa. Taj kompleks je za muslimane svet. Jevreji vjeruju da su se u prošlosti na tom mjestu nalazila dva jevrijska hrama. Stoga neke jevrijske grupe zagovaraju rušenje Al-Aqse i gradnju trećeg jevrijskog hrama. Sve to dodatno pogoršava i onako napetu situaciju. Idemo sada do Yorka gdje se nalazi novinar Ben Norton. Ben, once again, hello and welcome to Al Jazeera. Now, would you call President Donald Trump's Jerusalem move a reckless gambit?
Well, of course it's reckless. Like many of the things Trump has done, there's no question that it's reckless. But I think that doesn't really describe exactly what's happening. And the important thing to understand is that what Donald Trump is doing is formalizing what has been unofficial policy for many years now. And if you look, back over several decades, since George H.W. Bush, every single president in the U.S. has gotten more and more pro-Israel. And this is a general trend since 1967. During the Cold War, Israel was a key part of the U.S. empire. Israel was a key force that was fighting progressive forces throughout the region. It was anti-communist, it was anti-Arab nationalist. And of course, in the past several decades, it's been a key partner in, the U.S. wars throughout the region. So, of course, the Gulf War, and then after 9/11 and the war on terror, and then the subsequent wars. And what Trump is doing is, of course, he's doing this for several reasons for his own base. I mean, he's appealing evangelical voters, which are a big factor in his success. And also his vice president, Mike Pence, is himself an evangelical. So that is an important factor. But what he's also doing is he's shoring up support for Israel. He is reaffirming that this relationship is going to maintain very strong at a time when things are really shifting throughout the region, when the Gulf, particularly Saudi Arabia and the UAE, are also moving closer to Israel, when the war in Syria is winding down, and when clearly the U.S. and Israel and Saudi Arabia were on the losing side of that war.
You mentioned the Jerusalem Embassy Act from 1995. Why do you think President Trump decided to depart from the established practice of signing a waiver every 6 months and proceeding to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which is a very contentious issue?
Of course, I mean, and contentious is a euphemism. It's illegal. I mean, to stress this again, and this is not controversial under international law, the United Nations has reaffirmed it again and again and again. East Jerusalem is illegally occupied by Israel and has been since 1967. No other country in the world recognizes the legitimacy of this. And Trump is trying to be the first major country to do so. But you can't just make up international law as you see fit. Like I said, I think there are several different reasons for it. It serves Trump in terms of short-term political gain. And then it also, I think, in some ways serves what we call U.S. interests, whatever that means, vaguely in the long term. So like I said, there are a lot of things that are happening regionally right now. And if you look at the key of the Trump administration's foreign policy is opposition to Iran. And this has been very clear from the beginning. So as soon as Trump entered office, not only did he stack his administration with pro-Israel figures like Jared Kushner, who's, of course, his son-in-law and someone who has a lot of personal vested interests in Israel. And we can get more into Kushner, but Kushner, in fact, co-chaired his family's foundation, which was funding illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank. His family is incredibly close to Netanyahu, in fact, so close that Benjamin Netanyahu he slept in his bedroom, Jared Kushner's bedroom, when he stayed at his family's home. And Jared Kushner slept in the basement that night. That's how close they are. But even beyond that, there are a variety of other factors that should be considered. So as soon as Trump entered office, he also moved very close to Saudi Arabia. And Trump visited Saudi Arabia for the first time before any other country. That's the first time a president has ever done that. And he signed a $110 billion arms deal. This is supposedly supposed to help the U.S. economy. Of course, it's not going to do that much. It's going to fuel the military-industrial complex. But what it also does is it helps bring Saudi Arabia more under the arm of the U.S. as Israel, and bring them together in this alliance that is unified in opposition to Iran, and of course also in opposition to Qatar with the recent de facto blockade, also in opposition to Syria, the north and Yemen with the Houthis and such. So
let's move on to Turkey very quickly. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan used exceptional language in his response, calling Israel a terrorist state. Both Iran and Turkey have long wished for an end to Saudi Arabia calling the shots in the Middle East. How do you think the Jerusalem issue will play into Turkish and Iranian hands?
Well, I mean, I think it's very clear that in some ways it could certainly help both of them. There's no question, because in particular, Iran is one of the only countries that still continues to support Palestinian resistance movements and other resistance movements like Hezbollah against Israel. And, the war in Syria has complicated many of these things. And it's true that some of Hezbollah's support has waned. But I think when, Israel continues to carry out more of these provocative actions, I mean, Israel has been repeatedly violating Lebanese airspace to bomb Syria. I think that there will be an increasing support again for many of these resistance movements, and in Iran is again sponsoring them. The Gulf, of course, it's divided in the Gulf. Saudi Arabia has no longer even pretended. I mean, Saudi Arabia, in fact, according to Israeli media reports, supposedly green-lighted Trump's move of the embassy. So as for Turkey, it's true that rhetorically, absolutely, that Erdogan has criticized Israel, and that's very welcome. I mean, we'll see what the Turkish policy is. Turkey still has important trade ties with Israel and recently restored diplomatic relations. But, it is important that Erdogan did criticize what Israel has been doing, because in Saudi Arabia and the UAE, they barely even did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly my next question. How would you comment the reactions, or rather the lack thereof, coming from other Muslim-majority countries?
Well, it's been very clear, and this has been coming for some time now. Of course, Egypt and Jordan both have peace treaties with Israel and have tried to normalize, the Israeli apartheid regime for many years now. But what is somewhat newer, even though it's not entirely new, is the policy of Saudi Arabia and the UAE and Bahrain. Actually, Bahrain may be the first country to officially normalize relations with Israel. Saudi Arabia also has an increasingly close relationship. In fact, just this week, the Israeli intelligence minister, Katz, he invited Mohammed bin Salman, the Saudi crown prince, to visit Israel officially. And of course, Israel and Saudi Arabia have been likely sharing intelligence in coordination against Iran and against Hezbollah. And I think that what this policy will do is ultimately bring Israel and Saudi Arabia and the UAE even closer together. And as I mentioned, just to stress this point, because this is very important to consider, Israeli media reports said that Saudi Arabia and Egypt, so Mohammed bin Salman and Sisi, both green-lighted and welcomed Trump's decision to move the capital of Israel to Jerusalem. So this is not something that Trump just did unilaterally. And what this really demonstrates, again, at the end of the day, is that, Saudi Arabia and even Egypt and Jordan and the UAE, these countries that have maybe rhetorically claimed to support Palestinians, they actually have not done so. And to stress this, I mean, it's not an entirely new policy. The Palestinian, liberation leader, Ghassan Kandafani, he famously wrote this story, Men in the Sun, which is about the betrayal of the Palestinians by, countries like Saudi Arabia. So I think this is really just the apotheosis of policy that's been coming for some time. And you can see that because not only did Republicans here endorse it, but even many Democratic leaders like Chuck Schumer in New York, even they welcomed what Trump was doing. Although, again, to stress this point, Jerusalem is illegally occupied in the east. So this policy, unfortunately, I think has been coming for some time. And Trump has removed the mask and has no longer pretending in any way that the U.S. is a neutral arbiter and that the U.S. actually cares about peace in Israel-Palestine. It's the U.S. that has killed the two-state solution, and this is really the nail in the coffin.
All right. Ben Norton, it was a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. It was a great discussion.
Ja. Poštovani gledalci, bio je to novinar Ben Norton iz Yorka. Linija razgraničenja nakon rata 1948. godine podijelila je Jerusalem na istočni palestinski i zapadni izraelski dio. Međutim, nakon rata 1967. godine između Izraela i arapskih susjeda, izraelska vojska je dodatno okupirala i istočni dio grada. Danas su Palestinci Jerusalema tretirani kao građani drugog reda. Naš naredni gost je rabin Yisroel Dovid Weiss iz ultraortodoksne jevrijske organizacije na Troje karta u Yorku. Rabbi Weiss, hello and welcome to Al Jazeera once again. Your organization vociferously protested against President Donald Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem. Why do you consider it problematic for the U.S. government to recognize Jerusalem as the capital city of Israel?
With the help of the Almighty, something has to be clarified. As a Jew, we have to be loyal citizens in every country where we reside, and therefore we can't dictate to the president and speak to him without respect and so forth. But we are simply stating a fact that our religion, Judaism, cannot and does not recognize the state of Israel, the Zionist state of Israel. It is a rebellion against God. It is forbidden, and therefore it goes to say that Jerusalem cannot be recognized as its capital. It's an illegitimate state, and there's no such thing as a capital for this illegitimate state. Jerusalem is a holy city also, and we hope, with God's help, that it should be free of this occupation and free of, together with the whole Holy Land, the whole of Palestine, free of this occupation in its entirety.
Mm-hmm. Now, to what extent was the pro-Israel lobby in the U.S., but also evangelical Christians, responsible for such a decision? And how close exactly is President Trump to pro-Israel lobby groups?
Well, the fact of the matter is we are coming from religion. I must state, Judaism, it means subservience to God. It's a religion of thousands of years, 3,000 years. The Zionist ideology and their state is something which is a creation of the Zionism 100-odd years and the state 70 years. It's a transformation to nationalism, which is antithetical and contradictory to our religion. They simply hijacked our symbols and the name Judaism. So when they're coming and speaking in these lobbies and so forth, they call them Jewish lobbies. They're simply it's reviled, it's despicable, it's repugnant. They can't use the name Judaism. But their powers we don't know, because we're not a political concept. We're religion, and the Jews around the world invariably, whether it's in Al-Quds, Jerusalem, or in the United States, or around the world, London, England, wherever you will go, the very religious communities, the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of us all over the world, we remain in totally in opposition to the existence of the state, no matter what shape or form it takes. So we don't know how far, but everybody in the world knows that they have a tremendous power of the shaitan, of the Satan, that they use to put pressure on people and to ensnare them and to dupe them to thinking that people are supporting Judaism. That's why we plead with the president respectfully that he should understand he has Jewish citizens in his own backyard in New York, very large Jewish communities, that there's not one Israeli flag there, and we plead with him that it's unacceptable, the state of Israel, and we don't want that the name of Jerusalem to be sullied. It can't be sullied with the name as capital of an illegitimate state.
Has such a move torpedoed any future prospects for peace? Can the U.S. still continue to claim that it is an honest broker in peace deals between Palestinians and Israelis?
Well, again, there is one thing clear. History attests that Jews have lived together with Muslims in the courtyards, in the same courtyards in Palestine, as they have in every other Muslim and Arab state and country. And there was so the only impediment to peace was the creation, first the ideology of Zionism and the creation of the state of Israel. We as Jews yearn to show our gratitude for the Muslim countries, for the safe haven they provided for us all the years, and to call it a religious conflict is, again, despicable. It's not a religion. It's a movement that is against God and God's creations. So we can bring this back to the history it was. There will be peace. And if the United States, the President Trump claimed that, he said clearly that he's trying to look for an avenue for peace. If he'll step out of the box and look at his Jewish citizenship, who is true to Judaism, then he'll realize that the solution is the removal, God help speedily and peaceably, of this relatively new existence of the state of Israel. Remove it, just like apartheid was removed from South Africa. Then anybody who will do that in the Arab world will listen to that. It has to be removed, the state of Israel. So as Jews, we can serve God. They're beating our brethren in Jerusalem. They're beating them because they refuse to serve in the Israeli army. Presently, if you look at pictures on MKUSA, our website, you will see how Jews are brutally being beaten because they refuse to serve in the army, boys and girls, and they're assassinated, arrested, and this is all because in Jerusalem, in Al-Quds, and in the whole of Palestine, they refuse to recognize the Zionist state of Israel. So when our president will take this into mind, and then he'll approach this realizing that the state of Israel is the cause of exacerbation of anti-Semitism and endless rivers of bloodshed, and the solution is the removal of this impediment, everybody will listen to him, and he can do it. We pray to God that somehow he should be the good messenger, or whatever it may be. We should have a speedy removal, that we as Jews can show our gratitude to the Palestinian people with a free country, a free Palestine, and ultimately the world should serve together God in harmony. As history attests, we've lived together in peace, but ultimately the great goal is where there'll be true peace in the world, where all humanity will serve him in harmony.
What, in your view, is the best solution for Jerusalem, which is of gargantuan importance to all three Abrahamic religions?
Well, it's something that's very clear. History is wisdom. History attests to the fact that we've been living without any human rights groups to protect us, without a United Nations. We've been living in the same courtyards, babysitting each other's children. There's many Arabs, Muslims, and Jews who will attest to this. It's not so long ago, before 70 years ago, we were living in harmony, and there was some agitation, obviously, since Zionism came in around 100-odd years ago. But prior to that, it's certain like that. Everybody will tell you what their grandparents said. But even in the time when there was tense because of what Zionism was attacking the Arab cities and towns, still in all, we lived in harmony. The Jewish populace there was from Palestine. This is our way to show the way of peace. This can be attained. It's a simple matter of not being duped by the Zionist propaganda that we have an impasse because we have a religious conflict. Remove this impediment to peace. And just like South Africa, where they claimed that they couldn't be peace because they would be killing each other, blacks and whites. In this case, it's so clear because history shows that we lived as brothers and sisters. It's a simple matter of recognizing, diagnosing properly this terrible sickness, which is the Zionism and this flawed selfish movement of Zionism, which is not Judaism, not a religion. Remove it from this piece of sand, from the irritant, from the eye, and then we'll be able to coexist in harmony. It's a clear logic.
Right. Rabbi Weiss, thank you so much once again for speaking to Al Jazeera. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you very much. God bless.
Američko priznavanje okupiranog Jerusalema kao glavnog grada Izraela već je dosad znatno naštetilo ugledu SAD-a u državama sa većinskim muslimanskim stanovništvom. Uz to, analitičari su stava da se Sjedinjene Američke Države više ne mogu predstavljati kao neutralni posrednici u bilo kakvim budućim mirovnim pregovorima jer su u očima Palestinaca, ali i većine muslimana, jasno stali na stranu Izraela. Kako će to utjecati na buduće mirovne pregovore i hoće li otvoriti prostor značajnije ulozi Rusije, Turske i Irana u palestinskom pitanju, tek će se vidjeti. Bilo je to sve u ovom izdanju Granica Istoka. Cijelu emisiju možete gledati na našem web portalu balkans.aljazeera.net. Hvala na pažnji.